Council for Scientific and I think it's the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, but I may be wrong, it could be another organization. But there are not many of them. So for a lot of you who are early stage, do look at where you can get the differentiation, do look at where you can get that kind of, that edge. And it may be that you could interact more deeply with people who have labs, who have access to research, even central government funding and so on. So that's one thing that I'd like to say. The other point which I'd like to say is that, the flavor of innovation is very different. Again, just kind of taking perspectives on both the sides, because in all the developed countries, whether it's US and many countries of Europe, it's like about, so many Nobel Prizes. And it's true that a lot of the work which I see here is not going to win a Nobel Prize, but it's equally true that is still innovation, and there is innovation in business processes. In India, you can innovate just on being able to provide something at a particular price, being able to provide access to something, being able to distribute something. So there is a lot of, a very different flavor of innovation. And in fact, a friend of mine who is at Cambridge at the Judge Business School, he's actually writing a book called Jugaad Innovation. And when he comes to India, he's like so excited. He says, look, there's Jugaad and there's Jugaad. And I say, sometimes those people are just really unlucky, they don't have facilities. But he's like, no, that's great, because there's so much of Jugaad, it's so innovative. So the point I'm making is, yes, the flavor of innovation is quite different, and we don't necessarily need to do things which come out of a lab. But in India, there is such a lot of interesting things which are happening purely on being able to provide something on being able to provide better business processes or delivery or operations. And there are many very good examples like the heart surgeries in Bangalore, which is the Narayan Hridayalaya, right? Is that the name? Yeah, Narayan Hridayalaya, and also of course the Akash tablet, which is which has got a lot of press. I mean, we still have to see which way it goes, but good press, bad press. Or some years ago, similar situation with the Nano. So those are all examples of innovation which is very Indian in flavor. And the last thing which I'd like to say is that, for all of you, again, many of you who are personally known to me already, I know your companies, I know your business models. I just say, look at what the future holds. I mean, there is the whole, in the future of human society, there is the whole trend towards urbanization, a very huge population growth, which is very disproportionate in certain pockets. There are going to be mega cities, there are going to be more populations, there are going to be more aging populations. So there's a lot to be done around, things like assisted healthcare, maybe robotics, maybe, more on the things which are going to have a quality of life for us, because we can see the social trend going in a certain way, but those products and services today don't exist. So that's something which I would like all of you to think about. And the last point which I'll make, which is very specific to Pune, is that in Pune a lot of and I speak about IT because I know IT. So a lot of the IT entrepreneurs come from IT companies or services companies, and they are innovative. They come to me and they say, we are excited because we are coming out with a new product. But the innovation is all in a particular band. It's all in in the database, in the UI, in the reports, in the dashboards. It's sort of in that band. And the applications are for things like, basically for B2B applications, whether it's a payroll or whether it's, different things in that band. What struck me when I started interacting with more companies in the UK is that the innovation has a greater depth. So it goes into things like embedded, or it goes into hardware interfaces, or it goes into medical devices. So I think that there's something for us to think about there. There's a lot below the surface that we're kind of not looking at. And that's an idea that I just like to leave all of you with. With that, I'll just end by saying a few lines about what UKTI does, so that all of you know me. You can always reach out to me. I meet people every day, and I usually never say no to meet anybody unless the person is particularly obnoxious or I have a particular reason not to meet that person. My office is actually in the same building, upstairs on the 5th floor B wing. So to give you a little bit about what we do, just 2 or 3 points. One thing that we do is the trade part of our name, which is that we help British companies to globalize. And what I mean by that is that we provide them local knowledge. We don't sell for them, but we provide them local knowledge. We suggest partners to them. We suggest distributors. We suggest customers. some of you may sometimes get a call from a colleague of mine with a request like, I'm calling from UKTI, so and so is coming down, he makes rubber components for railways, he wants to meet with you, are you ready to meet with him? Yes, no, if no, why? If yes, please, yes. So you may get a call like that. So that's the kind of initiative that we take in helping British companies to globalize. And my office, I don't remember the number, but I know in pounds, every year we provide a number of bespoke reports to companies about the Pune market. That's one of the things that we do. And we may actually reach out to some of you, for that aspect of our work. The other thing which we do, which is investment, is we help Indian companies to establish their operations in the UK. And there's a whole range of services that we provide in that regard, which are all free and confidential. And we give you an overview of the opportunity, and we provide a number of services to help you to set up your company and grow your operations and grow your team in the UK. We have a specific program, since we had this topic today about funding, we have a very specific program which does have a representative in Delhi, though not in Pune, and that's our Global Entrepreneur Program. Somewhere there is a banner outside which says entrepreneurs are great. So the Global Entrepreneur Program helps innovative IP-led companies to base their companies in the UK, and then the GEP team works with you to raise funds as well as to develop a market for you in the whole of Europe. But that's a program that happens by invitation. So if you come to me and if you tell me, we are innovative, we are IP-led, I will understand your business, and I will ask my GEP colleagues that, is this something that you can take on into the GEP program? So that's also something that we do. I haven't put any Pune companies successfully into the program yet. I have put some in the process, but they haven't yet kind of reached culmination. So I am happy. I'm sorry. Okay, Vandana is a successful example of a GEP company. Okay, so that was a little before my time, so pardon me for that. Okay, another thing that we do is we work on educational tie-ups, we work on research tie-ups, we help colleges to collaborate, universities to collaborate. And the last thing is there is that little developmental aspect of our work. So sometimes we have scholarships, we have grants, we have fellowships. Sometimes I'm told suggest good people who are working in the social sector or in the education sector. Again, it's just a matter of me knowing what work you do, and I'm always very happy to pass on those opportunities to you. You may get an email from me saying, please apply for this award or please apply for that grant funding, and I hope that you take advantage of that. So that's a little bit about what we do, and with that, I'll just say I'm happy to kind of set this nurture program off onto a great start. Thanks so much.
But before I go on, extremely sorry to Mr. Ajay Bhagwat. Very sorry for mixing up your name. Okay, so Sandeep. Sure, if I have 200 crores, I don't mind it. Okay, so over to the last two things. So we have mementos and we have the vote of thanks. So let me invite Mr. Arun Joshi to hand over the memento to Aniruddha. Arun Joshi is from TIE, is the president of TIE. The president of TIE from Oregon. Mr. Anand Khandelkar to offer. Anand Khandekar to present a memento to Samir. Kiran Deshpande to present a memento to Dr. Abhyankar. Sorry, did I mix it? Yeah. Sorry, Kiran to Ravi Trivedi. Sorry. Dr. Abhyankar to present a memento to Kevin. Ravi Nigam to present a memento to Manish Singhal. Vinod Shastri to present a memento to Vandana. Vishwas Mahajan to present a memento to Suhasini and to propose the vote of thanks.
Friends, what a great evening it has been for all of us. Round of applause to all our panelists. When we first conceptualized this program and we talked to many people, some of the things that Ajay talked to you about came out very, very clearly. And very senior and accomplished entrepreneurs like Ajay, like Kiran, Ravi, readily volunteered to take lead in this program. And that in a way has assured that we will see a good end to this effort that we have put together, and that is one of the things I wanted to thank the entrepreneurs, because I think that will be the bottleneck that we will have, the ability and availability of our mentors. I'm sure that there will be we will find a lot of entrepreneurs wanting mentorship, but I think we need to find the right set of mentors. So please bear with us as we go through the process of doing this matchmaking over the next several weeks, so that we can really deliver value to TiE and to entrepreneurs that we are. Nothing matters more than seeing another successful entrepreneur. So in that spirit, we will continue our effort in this direction. We quite realize that funding is not end all and be all of a business. And we know that there are several other things that have to come in, as a mix. And we hope that this program will take, as it was written on the slide, from a small business plan in small letters to, in capital letters, that will be even better. Not just from funding perspective, but just for the entrepreneur to even get a better clarity and their plans together. Since we announced this program, I mean, the response has been phenomenal. Honestly, we were not ready for this response. This is something that I first of all feel really bad that some of you have to stand through the evening, and I really apologize for the inconvenience that you went through. But the fact that we received tremendous response when we did a press conference just the other day, and the press really went ballistic about it. In fact, in today's Economic Times, there's an article on this. And we started getting calls. Namita and Ruma and our team has been flooded with calls. We had to turn down about 140 people. Even then, today in this room, there are about 160 people. We actually did a question. We did a small profiling question when people registered. Okay, and we had about 137 also. So about 80% of them were startups and early stage companies looking for mentorship, not just funding itself, but mentorship. And it really brought about, and I'm sure those 140 people who called in but could not be a part of today's program could be a representative mix as well. It only tells us, and what we've done today is to tell them, look, we'll do this program one more time, and just kind of put them off a little bit for now. But I think it only tells us in TiE and all of us here the real need to bridge this very, very vital gap that exists. And I hope that the program